Hello, my name's Andrew. I'm a music producer and a long-term anxiety sufferer. Each week I'll be uploading a video to this channel, Anxious Andrew, talking all things anxiety. Today I'm talking about my experiences with panic attacks. How did they start? How bad did they get? And how did I get rid of them? Also, will they ever come back? Probably yes. So if that sounds interesting to you, please subscribe to my channel and stick around for the video. I didn't experience panic attacks as a child, but I definitely laid the groundwork for them. I would describe myself as being claustrophobic as a child. I wouldn't have used that word then, but when I think back now, that's what was going on. I wasn't claustrophobic in the sense of being scared of small spaces, but I would feel trapped in certain situations. There were things and events that I would avoid because I knew how I would feel if I put myself there. I would have an overwhelming urge to run away. The first place this happened was in the dinner hall, the stinky school dinner hall. For some reason, when I was at primary school, there was this rule that you had to eat every last mouthful of your food. Even if you weren't hungry, even if you felt sick, even if you hated sandwich crusts. The dinner ladies wouldn't let you leave the hall until you had finished all your food. This piled on the pressure for me because often I wouldn't be able to eat all of my lunch. If I tried to leave the dinner hall before finishing my food, I would literally get told off. So I always felt this pressure to eat even when I didn't want to. This daily stress didn't do my appetite much good, and it made it less and less likely that I'd want to eat anything at all, let alone finish all of my food. This led to me feeling very trapped when I was in that dinner hall, trapped and anxious. This then extended to other food-related events. I never liked eating at a friend's house. I would feel that same pressure to finish all of my food, and I'd just always start feeling sick. Restaurants were also a problem. I just hated eating out, and I'd always feel claustrophobic and sick. Around the same time, I found myself feeling exactly the same way in school assemblies, again in the stinky hall. You would have all the kids and all the staff stuffed into this one hall. My surname begins with a W, so I was always trapped at the back. I would have rows and rows of kids in front of me blocking the exit, so I would always get that feeling of claustrophobia and want to run away. I remember one time crying because I felt sick with fear. My teacher took me out of the hall and told me to stop my crocodile tears and to stop being a big girl's blouse. That is some fantastic child rearing, and it hasn't done me any lasting damage. It wasn't until my late teens that I would have actually admitted to having or even knowing what a panic attack was. I just thought that I didn't like being trapped or eating in front of people. The same feelings I got in restaurants leaked into travelling too. I would get very panicky in a moving vehicle or on a plane or on a train, particularly something like the London Underground. Very claustrophobic setting and guaranteed to set me off. I would also get worked up in the cinema or at the theatre. I would only feel comfortable if I was on the end of a row with quick access to the exit. I'd always need to know what my escape plan was. Finally, during university, when I was finding it particularly difficult to travel into uni and stay there for a full day, I went to see the doctor. I didn't really know why I was going, but I knew something was wrong. The doctor sent me for CBT therapy, and that's where I had this revelation that I suffered with anxiety and panic attacks. I scraped through my late teens and early 20s trying to keep all of this a secret. It was too embarrassing and too shameful, and I thought I would deal with it, get over it, and it would go away. No one needed to know. Also, I wanted to work and get a job. Who on earth would hire a pathetic scaredy cat who has panic attacks? This approach was actually working out quite well for me. I moved to London and landed my dream job working in the music industry. I ended up slap bang in the middle of Soho and even had my own office. My anxiety was coming down and I was able to travel and eat in restaurants, go to gigs and sit through performances at the theatre. All good until one day I got a stomach bug. I got sick at work and had to go home and recover for a couple of days. It wasn't pleasant, but I didn't find it all that traumatic either. I felt better and went back to work, no problem. I actually felt pretty untouchable then because my worst fear of being sick in public had come true and nothing bad had happened. But after a few months, it all fell apart and came crashing down. I could not stop thinking about being sick, constantly monitoring how I was feeling and getting really worked up and having daily panic attacks. I would flee work and rush home to where I felt safe. I couldn't make it through a whole day in the office. I couldn't eat lunch in central London. I couldn't sleep at night. So eventually I just had to leave. This was devastating as my whole identity was living in London and working in the music industry. As far as I was concerned, I had made it, and now I was a complete failure and back down to the bottom of the pile. It took a couple of years to even get back to a point where I could function normally, whatever that means, and make it through a day or a week without feeling totally helpless and out of control. A very similar thing happened to me a few years ago. I had myself back on steady ground and was bumbling along quite nicely until I had another stomach bug. Same downward spiral. I became obsessed with being sick and would have many severe panic attacks every day for months on end. I became totally housebound and completely agoraphobic. No chance of travelling anywhere or eating out or really engaging with anything at all. I couldn't sleep through the night. I would have panic attacks going to bed, in the middle of the night, first thing in the morning through to the last thing at night. Very, very, very bad. This brings us up to now. Once again, I've managed to settle into quite a normal routine. Apart from getting on a plane or travelling long distances, I very rarely have panic attacks. However, they do still have power over me. I know that if and when I have another stomach bug, the same downward spiral is going to happen again. So I'm trying to work on myself to do some damage limitation. I'm trying to find out why I fall so far and see if there's anything I can do to stay afloat and not become totally consumed. There's also lots of work to be done with panic attack and mental health stigma. I'm not saying I judge people who suffer from panic attacks, but I judge myself extremely harshly. And I know that many people look down on panic attack sufferers. They view us as less than, unable to cope with life, or drama queens. I'm very anxious about what people think of me. This whole channel feels like a huge risk for me. I wrestled with the pros and cons of making this channel a lot before starting it. Will people think less of me? Will this affect my career? Will this affect my relationships? We like to think we live in a tolerant society, but unfortunately that's just not true. Rightly or wrongly, mental health problems still carry a huge amount of stigma and are very much misunderstood. I'm hopeful that this channel and me waffling on can help to reduce that stigma and ease the burden on myself and other people who suffer. Thanks for watching. I hope you've found this video interesting or relatable. If you would like to get in touch with me about anything at all, please email anxiousandrewchannel@gmail.com. See you on the next one.